Okay, so to get started with the base of our album, we need 2 pieces of chipboard that are 10 inches by 10 inches. We need 2 pieces that are 10 inch by 1 inch for our 2 spine pieces, and 1 that is 10 inches by 3 inches for our closure. To wrap these, we're going to start with the 2 biggest pieces first. And to wrap these, you just need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock. I'm going to set that down in my scoreboard. I'm going to use my little 1-inch templates that I have for to get my border that I need. Go ahead and get the backing off the adhesive. Maybe. Doesn't want to play nice tonight. Of course, it's also midnight on a Tuesday, and I've got some insomnia going on, so I'm up doing this instead of sleeping, and I'm probably going to really regret this here in about 7 hours when I have to be online for work, but that's okay. Alright, so there's our first one. We'll set that to the side. Go ahead and get our second one taped down. There we go. And I'm not using score tape on this one just because I've got a couple of rolls of this other one that I think is actually meant for like die cuts or something, because the backing on the tape itself is fairly thin. Works fine for these. I'm just using that instead of using my score tape sheets because I tend to kind of hoard those. Let's go ahead and put paper on our other 2 pieces as well while we're at it. So for the spine pieces, you need 2 pieces that are 12 inches by 3 inches. We're going to do the exact same thing with both of these to get the to start building these pieces. Okay. And 1 more. Just a tiny bit, because I did actually have 1-inch score tape that I used on these, which is not typically the case. I was looking for something else and ran across it in my stash, so that's always good. And for our last piece to cover it, we need a piece that is 12 inches by 5 inches. So basically, if you're using this method to build your base and to wrap your chipboard, you're going to wrap it with cardstock that is 1 inch, well, 2 inches wider and 2 inches taller than your chipboard. So because this is 3 by 10, the cardstock is going to be 5 by 12. Which I actually wanted to go a little bit bigger on this folio. I had a method that might have worked. I wasn't happy with the way it was coming out. So that kind of slowed me down a bit in getting this one designed and put together. When I was building my prototype, I started out with a bit bigger, where I was doing a different method to kind of wrap the chipboard, and I just wasn't liking how it was coming out, so I had to modify my whole project, which is always all kinds of fun. Okay, so we've got those for now. And now we're just going to wrap our chipboard. Trying to get my stuff together here. So for this small piece that's the closure on the front of our folio and the 2 main pieces, you're going to wrap these, all 3 of these, the exact same way. I'm going to show you with the 10 by 3. We're going to fold that over. We're going to use our foam folder and burnish that down. And the same thing again, we're going to fold over here and burnish. And then we're going to come in and fold the other way and burnish that down as well. Okay, so now you can see how we've got these nice little squares in each corner. What we're going to do is cut each of those squares out. And I think I cut that one in too far, but that's okay. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fold this over, and we're going to look here and see if there's anything hanging out over that edge, which right here, don't know if we can see that, there we go. That one we're good. This side I believe we're good as well. Take just a tiny bit off of that one. We'll try the other end. That one's good, that's the one I cut in just ever so slightly too far. This side is sticking out just a touch, so you're just going to put your scissors against the edge of that chipboard, pivot in slightly, and my scissors are sticking and trim, and then we're going to do the same thing going the other direction. So this one, same thing, scissors on the edge, pivot ever so slightly and trim. Fold it over to the other side, same thing again, and then the other end. All right, so then, where is score tape? Okay, so I'm going to use 1/2-inch score tape, and I had been meaning to, actually I'm going to turn it this way first, try it this way, and Tammy actually beat me to it. She had done it with score tape instead of just using only glue for this part of it, with the beginner's album kit that she did and the tutorial for it. And if you are brand new to this, it is a fabulous tutorial. It's really long, but she goes through the construction of the base and the pages and flaps and pockets and waterfalls and all sorts of things to a degree that if you're just starting out is so incredibly helpful. I honestly would have loved to have had something like that when I first started doing albums this way. I've been doing albums of one sort or another for years, but I had always done them ring bound or with the whatchamacallit, not the cinch, the Zutter. So the one that came out before the cinch. Okay, so we've got our tape on both sides here. We're just going to run some glue in that little area right there. Take our bone folder, and we're going to push that and just kind of work that up on there, and then over and down. And then do the same thing again on the other side. But yeah, I used to do, I've done lots of minis over the years, but I had always been ring bound or, with the Zutter. So they were kind of spiral bound, and, had kind of stopped making them for a while just because I wasn't loving how they were coming out like that. I just felt like there had to be a better way. And then somewhere along the line, really only like maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, I stumbled across somebody's mini album where they did it like, basically totally from scratch like this. And I was just fascinated and, watched a few tutorials and figured out, kind of how to do the base and how to do the hinge and the pages and all of this. And, followed along to a couple of people's tutorials, and then finally kind of went out on my own. And it was so much fun. I can't even tell you. I just I thoroughly enjoyed it. It kind of re-inspired me to get back into doing albums and into doing something other than, you know, just 3D things that I could do with my Cricut. So if you are new to this and you've just run across this, by all means look for Tammy's beginner album for Country Craft Creations. It is fabulous and it's a great place to start. Okay, so there's our first piece. We're going to do the exact same thing to wrap the two big pieces. And I will show you, yeah, I guess I'll show you one of them. I'm trying to not have this one be quite as long as mine sometimes run into, so when we're doing something that's just a repeat of a prior step, I'm trying to kind of skip over that, because if you've done it once, then you can repeat the step and without me showing you the entire thing again. So literally it works the same way on both of those, regardless of what the size is. So when it's just the base pieces and not your spine pieces, this is how you're going to do it. We would go ahead and cut these corners out, glue everything down, and be good to go. For the two spine pieces, the method starts out the same, but it finishes off a little bit differently. So we're going to go ahead and bend, fold, and burnish. Hear the cat out there doing something. I just can't tell what it is. He's playing with something. Okay, so you've got your squares again that you can see here. Instead of cutting out the square, we're cutting across. So from one side of the square, bottom to top, bottom to top. We're going to do this on both ends. Okay, so this one, I am actually not going to use that. I think I'm just going to glue this one. But before I do that, I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to run it on the sides all around that chipboard, just to kind of work that cardstock down around that piece of chipboard. That's going to make it easier when we go to assemble these two together to get it to lay flat. So put some down there. Come over and down and same thing on the other end. Okay, and there you have your first spine piece. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the second spine piece and both of my cover pieces off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got all the pieces wrapped. We've got the two cover pieces, the closure piece, and then the two spine pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to start actually with this closure and with the back cover. So what I've done is on the back side of this, I've got score tape. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn these over. Before we get any further, however, we do need to trim and miter these just ever so slightly so they don't poke up over the top of our book. Okay, And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my score tape back. Or not the score tape, the backing on the score tape. I don't know why I have such a mental block about that, but I've noticed I am not the only one, so that makes me feel a little bit better. Okay, so what we're doing is we're lining this up so that the bottom is even across here, and so that this piece is almost all the way up against the side of the spine. So here's the side of our spine. We're going to push this so it's even with the bottom. Let me show you a little bit closer here. So we're even at the bottom, and you're pushing it all the way up against the side of that piece. Okay? And I find it a little bit easier to kind of go in at an angle, make sure my bottom is lined up. You can do this with glue. It's a little bit more forgiving, but then you have to wait for it to dry. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is come in on this back side. I'm going to burnish this down, and then I'm going to go right across the top of this, like right on this edge where I'm basically burnishing partway across here, to kind of push that piece down so that it's even. Okay? Okay. Fold that over and burnish it again that way. And then get it ready to do the other piece. Now, all of this being said, this is the first time I have used the new hinge method with something other than just a straightforward open and close album. It works fine. I had actually tried to redo one of my prior albums, and it was a gatefold, and used the new hinge wrap on it. And it worked, however, it shrunk down the inside of the album by about 1/4 of an inch, just because you don't have that 1/4 inch gap on either side of your spine pieces. So that was interesting. So something to keep in mind if you're doing an older project, that you may want to, depending on the album, you may not want to adapt it to the new wrap method. So I'm going to miter those corners ever so slightly. Get all of these little tiny pieces out of the way. And then we're going to do the exact same thing we did over here on this side. So I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to get my tape backing partially pulled up. Okay. And then I am going to put this down, keeping it even. Okay. Burnish again. And really put some pressure on that to get that pushed down in there. All right, one last piece. Do the same thing again. Pull our tape back on that corner. Let's turn this over the right direction. That would be incredibly helpful. Push that down. What have I done? Too far over. Let's not do that. Let's put it where it's supposed to be, which is down here. lost part of my tape, but it's okay because it's the tiny one on the outside edge here, and I can get it from inside. So all is good. All right. That's upside down. Okay. Burnish that down. Okay. We're going to fold up, and there is our base. We just need to cover the insides here. To do that, I have two pieces that are 5 by 9 7/8. They're just going to go in like so. I'm actually going to turn this sideways because I can see a little bit better, so I'm lining it up right, top to bottom. Push that down. I'm going to burnish that down. And we're going to do the same thing on this other side. Maybe we will. There we go. Same type of thing here. Let's get it centered up. Push it down. And we're just going to burnish it down. I'm going to come in here, and as I bend this, I'm going to run my bone folder down in there to get that good and creased. Same thing here. Get that bent there. I got my adhesive a little far over on that piece, but that's okay. It will be fine. So we'll come here and here, and there we have our cover. So we need 2 magnets in here, or 2 sets of magnets in here, that is. Okay, so I am just going to get my backing off of one, and these are, of course, the basic gray magnets, and I'm going to put that about 1 inch up from the bottom and then just kind of center it up. Okay, and we're going to get this over here, get everything lined up where we want it, make sure it looks good, and then get those magnets down in their final resting place. And I am putting them on now because I am notorious for getting my thing covered and then going, oh, I forgot my magnets. So we're not going to do that this time. All right, you can see back in there where I got a little bit too much glue. I'm going to figure out how to fix that here in a little while, but I'm not glue tape. It was too close to the edge. It's okay. All right, so our base is finished. We can move on and start working on our inside. So let me grab my scoreboard, and we are going to start with the inside right. First thing on this, and I have cut everything, I have not scored everything, so we are going to go through and score everything together as I give you the measurements. First thing, we've got a waterfall that is going to, a portrait-oriented waterfall, so up and down, that's going to sit on top of a pocket. So the pocket that this sits on is going to be 4 1/8 by 10 3/4. We're going to score that at 1/2 inch on each end with the 10 3/4 inch side at the top. And then for the waterfall itself, we have 6 pieces that are 4 1/8 by 6 5/8. We're going to score these at 1/2 inch with the 6 5/8 inch side on the top. That one was scored already. I'm just going to score the rest of these really quickly. And again, we're just scoring these 1/2 inch from the top. Standard waterfall here. Okay. All right, I will come back off camera and get adhesive on these, get some tape on these, because you guys don't need to watch me tape anything. So this flap is going to open up this way in the front part of the right hand side of the album. This flap is 7 inches by 9 3/4. We are going to score this at 1 inch and 1.5 inches. There will be a magnet on this page. We're not going to attach it just yet, although we could. Let's go ahead and attach this to the back side here. So there is going to be a magnet on this page. Maybe. Oh, weird. There's like 2 things of adhesive on this one. How funky is that? That's so weird. Okay, so we're just going to put this about 1 inch or so in and about just center it up and set that one off to the side. Our next flap is going to open this direction, and this one is 9 inches by 9 3/4. So with the 9 inch side at the top, we are going to score at 1 inch and 1 1/4 inches and set that one aside. Next, I've got what I'm calling a butterfly flap. For this one, you need 2 pieces that are 9 inch by 9 3/4. We're going to score both of these the exact same. So we're going to score them at 1 inch and 5 inches. So what's going to happen is it's going to open up. Sorry, we're going to fold it this way and that way. So when this is down on the page, they're going to go opposite each other and they're going to open up like this. Okay? That's why it's a butterfly. Haha. Okay, so let's get our second one scored here. So again, 1 inch and 5 inches. And then I've cut another piece that I actually put underneath these to cover up those tabs and kind of reinforce this a little bit. And I'm just calling that the reinforcement mat, and that is 7 7/8 by 9 11/16. That's mostly so that there's not like a big gap top to bottom and side to side where you are actually putting this down. And then the last piece for that side is an expanding pocket. It's not going to expand a whole lot, but it'll expand enough you could put, I don't know, like if I were doing this as a Disney folio instead of the little lumberjack paper, you could put your maps from the parks in here. You could put just other, little memorabilia things that you pick up through the parks. I know we've been for my birthday and my husband's birthday, and we've done character meals for both of them at Garden Grill and Epcot. And you actually get a card that's been signed by the characters that are at that restaurant. So that's something, you could put in this bigger pocket. You could put some small 8x8 layouts in there. You could put photo mats, really whatever you want. So this is 12 by 8. So we're going to score this at 3/8, 3/4, and then 1 1/8. Turn it completely around, and this is with the 12-inch side at the top. 3/8, 3/4, 1 1/8. Okay, so everything for the left side is cut, scored, ready to go. So I'm going to set this aside for right now. And we're going to talk about the right side of the left side. That is the right side. This is the left side. What can I say? It's late. All right, so for this one, we're going to start with we're going to start with the waterfall that goes on this side. So this waterfall is going to be a landscape waterfall, so it's going to run across this way. It's going to sit on a pocket as well. This pocket is going to be 6 5/8 by 10 7/8. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch on 3 sides to form our pocket. For the flaps for our waterfall, we're going to cut 6 pieces that are 4 5/8 by 6 1/8. You're going to score these at 1/2 inch with the 4 5/8 side at the top. So there's the pieces for our waterfall. Clip that back together. Okay, next we've got a couple of flaps. These flaps, you're going to cut 2 of these at 5 7/8 by 9 3/4. With the 5 7/8 side at the top, we're going to score at 7/8 of an inch. I'm not sure why I did that measurement. I think when I did it originally, I cut these too short, meaning to have a 1 inch tab to took that down, and that's not what happened, but that's okay. So 5 7/8 by 9 3/4, scored at 7/8 of an inch on the 5 7/8 side. To that, we're going to add, and I don't know why I have 4 of these, because it's not actually 4, it's actually 2. Half-page flaps. These are going to be 5 3/8 by 5 inches. You need 2 of these, not 4 like it says on here. And with the 5 3/8 side at the top, you're going to score this at 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch. Next, we have pockets. You're going to cut 2 pockets that are 6 1/2 by 6, and 2 pockets that are 6 1/2 by 4 1/2. So these we are going to score at, I'm going to have to look at my prototype and figure out which way I turn these. I'm not sure. What I did. All right, so we're going to start. Yeah. Okay, 6 inch side at the top, 1/2 inch, turn, 1/2 inch, turn. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so again, with the 6 inch side at the top, 1/2 inch, turn, 1/2 inch, turn, and then 1/2 inch. And the smaller pocket is going to be 6 1/2 by 4 1/2, and it's going to be the same thing. We're going to put the that's supposed to be 6.5, not 6. No, that's supposed to be 6. I'm sorry. 6 inches by 4.5. 6-inch side at the top, we're going to score 1/2 inch, turn, 1/2 inch, turn. So 6 inches at the top, okay. Sorry about that. I know I've got it written down right in my directions. I just wrote it down on the paper the wrong way. All right, next we are going to do a double belly band. So for this, you need 2 pieces, one 4 inches by 10 7/8, one 1.5 inches by 10 7/8. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch. Put the 10 7/8 at the top, turn it, and then 1/2 inch again, and then do the same on the 4-inch piece. Okay. Next we have, and I'm sorry, I thought I had these in order, but apparently not. A large flap that's going to open this direction. This one is 10.5 by 9 7/8. With the 10.5 inch side at the top, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Oops, let's score straight, that would really help. And then again at 5/8. Okay. On top of that flap is going to go another set of stacked pockets. This set is 10 7/8 by, that is not 3.5, 10 7/8 by 3.5. Oh my gosh, I can tell it's late. And 10 7/8 by 6.5. Oh my gosh, I should go to bed. So with the 10 7/8 side at the top, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Rotate. 1/2 inch again. Rotate. 1/2 inch again. And the same thing with the other pocket. All right, on the home stretch here. So we're also doing, where's the rest of this one? Put it somewhere. Have I lost it somewhere? I think I have. Okay, so the last piece to this is going to be, I'm thinking I might not have actually cut it. That's not right. Okay, bear with me just one second here. Okay, so our last piece, part of our last piece, is going to be a frame that is going to have a magnet in it, and that's going to close and hold the left side of this shut. So we need a piece that is 7 1/4 by 8. That's right. Okay. So it's going to be our frame. 7 1/4 by 8. With the 7 1/4 inch side at the top, we're going to score this at 1 inch and 1 1/4 inch. For this, you also need another piece that is 6 by 8 that we're actually going to cut the frame out of, and that's going to sit on top of that piece. And you also need a piece of acetate that is 6.5 by 8.5. I have a piece cut here to do an angled pocket on the back side of this. I don't know that I'm actually going to do that. I ended up not doing that on my prototype, and I just did a photo mat back here, so I think that's how we're going to do this. But you could do an angled pocket here on the back and just come an inch down here and in an inch there, in and up, down and out, and then connect them down and trim it and do an angled pocket on the back here. I don't think I'm actually going to end up doing that, so I'm going to set that one aside. To do our frame, however, we're going to take our little 6x8 piece here. We're going to take our ruler and our pencil, and we're going to come out here. We're going to line up in this bottom corner down here, and we're going to come in 1 inch, and we're going to draw a line. Okay. I'm going to turn it. Do the same thing again. And again. And one more time. Now, all of that being said, I do have the We Are Memory Keepers frame punch. It tells you it's going to give you a 1 inch border. It's not a 1 inch border, so we're not going to use that. So now all I do is I flip this around to my metal edge, and I put my knife point right there. I line up on my line I drew, and I just pull it down. Same thing again, point. Well, other than now my thing's sticking, because I've got something on the mat, I think. I'm not sure. Okay, and again. And then one more time. For crying out loud, I don't know why that's stuck. And then we should, assuming we got through everywhere, have the front of our frame. Okay. Now for the acetate piece, and now I can sit out over here. Aha, I did cut it, I think. Yes, I did. So this is 5.5 by 7.5. And I'm leaving this paper on it for right now just so you can see. But all I'm going to do is turn this over. So I've got my glossy side up. And I am going to take 1/4 inch score tape. If I can find the end of my 1/4 inch score tape. And I'm just going to go around the outside edge of my acetate. And if you didn't want to make this into a frame and you just wanted to do some kind of pocket, you absolutely could. I really quite like how these come out when you do the little frames like this, so I just thought it would be kind of fun to do it with a magnet on the back and use it as the closure on this part of the album. So, all right, so we've got that. We're going to bring this over. And I'm trying to keep that tissue paper on the back side of this for 2 reasons. 1, so you can see what I'm doing. And 2, because it helps the acetate from, keep the acetate from like literally gathering up every piece of dust and cat hair, because we have a new cat and he's shedding. We've been cat free for like 4 months. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what cat hair looks like. But if we can manage to keep this on at least partway through our construction process here, it'll just keep that nicer looking for the time being. So, all right, so then what you're going to do is you're going to come in here, or pull our acetate off of that side, and let it static cling to the other side. Turn this back over, and this time I'm going to use my 1/2 inch score tape. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Sorry. I was just trying to think what I was trying to do here. And run it around 3 sides And you can make this side loading or top loading. It's entirely up to you. I think I am actually going to make this one side loading this time. But you're going to put your tape on 3 sides. We're going to get our backing off. And we're going to line this up. And again, I seem to work better when I turn things weird directions to line things up. I don't know why. And we're just going to line this up perfectly on top and drop it down. And there you have your little side loading frame that's going to go be one of our flaps to help hold our book closed. So I'm going to grab another set of magnets. Here. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on the back of this. Let's not use the one I can cut my finger open with. Let's use the one that is completely dull. And I'm going to get my magnet positioned on the back side of this so that I don't forget it, because I'm very, very good at doing that. All right, so I am going to go through and get, and I did not get that off of there, but it's okay because we'll slide a mat in here to mat under that, because I should have erased that first, but it's okay. We're going to mat it. You'll never know. Of course, you're watching this tutorial, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and get adhesive on all of my tabs here, and we will come back and we will put this together. Okay, so let's go ahead and start working on our inside. I have gone ahead and matted the outside of the book. I'm actually going to leave this back page blank because this is intended to lay flat, so it's not really going to matter. I have matted pretty much all of my flaps and things for the inside of the folio. I've still got a little bit of matting to do on one side, but we're going to go ahead and get this assembled. So what I have done here is I've got 2 pieces that are going to kind of be behind the pockets on either side here. So I don't have those attached down yet. I just have them clipped where they're going to go, because there's going to be tabs and things for the different flaps that need to go underneath those. So we're going to start on the left side here. So the left side we have, that's a half page flap, sorry. Oh, I guess I didn't finish matting this side either. Okay, so this is our, and I've just left that on the acetate that's on the front of that pocket just so that it doesn't get scratched or get dusty. So for this, I ended up doing a side load on our big frame here. I'm going to go ahead and leave that on there. So this piece doesn't go down immediately. I'm going to set that one aside. This one goes on top of that flap. The first thing that we're going to put down is going to be our flap that opens this way. So we're going to go ahead. I've got this scored and I've got tape on here ready to go. I'm just going to go ahead and bend that. I'm going to move that for now. Actually, I'm not going to turn that. No, I am going to turn it, but I'm going to turn it this way. So we're just going to line this up, line it up top to bottom. Make sure it's far enough over there. we want to make sure we're not too far back this way, or it's not going to close right, and you don't want to be too far the other way, or it's not going to close right on this section. Okay, so you kind of have to almost hold this so that you've got this at a right angle, so that when you come in here, you can make sure that we're not too far this way and we're not too far the other direction. Okay. And I will apologize now if you hear the ring going off in the background. My husband is outside taking down Christmas lights because it's a very nice day today. And every time he gets near the front porch, it goes off. So and this might take just a minute to get this positioned right so that, there we go. Okay, get that pushed down. We're good there. We're good there. Okay. All right, so the next piece that needs to go down is going to be this flap. All right, so this is our frame. So I'm actually not going to fold it on its second score line. I'm going to, because we've got the 2 score lines there, we're going to fold it on this one. And that's just so we can hold this flat to get it down on here right. And this time we're going to turn our book this way. I'm actually going to line up my ruler here. Make sure everything's right side up. We're going to go out to the edge, center that up, push it down, and then we can push back on it to get our second score line folded. Okay, so there's that one. Next, we're going to need, and I actually did have these all in order at one point, but this is the problem with starting this and running out of time to finish and having to come back to it later. Okay. Oh no, those are matted. I'm not. We're all good. Okay, so this is going to be the top. This one's going to be the bottom. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and bend that over. And we just need to line it up on the bottom. And since this one is a little bit smaller than our the base of our book, it's not going to go quite to either end. You're just going to center it up on this side. Okay, since that one is ready to go, that's that there. All right, so we've got our pockets that are going to go on the bottom, on the front here. So I've got the tape on these. We just need to miter our corners. Hang on to anything today, that would help, huh? So yeah, this ended up, I was trying to get this finished before my son and I went to Disneyland and didn't get to it. So if I sound a little slower this morning or today, that's why. It's because I'm trying to remember what point I was at before I left. Because So I was down here madly matting away after having worked a horrible week at work. Excuse me. We had made some changes to our excuse me, payroll processing, and we had consultants that were supposed to be helping with it, and they were supposed to have their piece of it done before Christmas. They didn't finish it till Monday. I had to process payroll on Thursday, and I spent all of Monday and Tuesday trying to fix errors that they caused, and then Wednesday just ended up having to manually do the entire payroll for basically 350 people. And I had gotten on the computer to work on Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. I was literally on there until 4:30 on Thursday. So, not even kidding, 35 straight hours in front of that computer. I was so toasted, just tired, done at that point. I couldn't even see straight. And then, you know, had to get up and be back on there Friday morning. And just time and exhaustion just took their toll, and I did not get this finished when I had initially planned. But that's okay. We will finish it up today, and I will get this posted for all of you. Okay, so there's our first pocket. And then we have I'm not sure what this is. That goes under here. Oh, that's why. Okay. Sorry. So the top flap is going to be exactly the same as this bottom flap. We're just going to flip the pockets onto the other side. That opens up down that way. And we have this little half-page flap that we're actually going to line this up to put this down a little bit differently than I normally would. I am lining it up all the way down in this corner down here. And then I'm putting the flap down, so then it's going to be just exactly where we want it. And then, did I ink these? I did. And I actually went through and inked everything on this project, because this paper, it needed it. So that is what I did. That's how I'm doing it. Okay. So then I've got my two mats. They're going to go down on either side of my half-page flap. So this one needs to be turned this way. And for your matting, everything is just 1/8 of an inch smaller than the page, so that you end up with a 1/16 of an inch border. If you wanted a bit bigger border, you could do 1/4 of an inch smaller, and that's going to give you 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. I typically don't go any bigger than that. I really kind of have liked this thinner border, which is why I started going the 1/8 of an inch route as opposed to the other. So, all right, so that one's down. Set that to the side, and we're going to turn this around so we can work on this top part. And same thing again, we're going to just fold that over. Get our backing off of our tape here. Of course, you could glue this. I just didn't want to glue it, so it's not glued. And then I'm just going to make sure that I'm lining this up try not to do that with a bubble because that was really not smart. There we go. All right, there we go. We're good. Except now I'm sticking up funny on this side. Okay, we're gonna fix it. Okay. Let's just put a little bit of glue on that spot right there where we kind of pulled up some of the paper, but that's okay because it's going to get covered up here. So ultimately, it's not going to matter. There we go. Now we're straight. All right. So we're going to do the same thing again on this one. We're going to do this little half-page flap on the back side. And we're going to line it up the exact same way. So I'm just lining it up in the corner here. Getting it even. And I'm pushing it down. And then do the mats. Not sure. And yes, this looks like it's going on upside down, but it is correct because this is actually the top. Okay. Turn that the right way, that would help. Okay. All right, so then we're going to get our pockets on here. We got to do the same thing on this that we had to do on the other one. We still got to miter our corners. Go ahead and get this one down. And then all I'm doing is just double checking where that folded and cleaning up the bottoms of my corners. Okay. Do the same thing on this one. I'm just going to fold those in. Get that tab over. Same thing on this side. Fold that in, push that bottom tab over. I'm just going to look and see. You can see how that kind of sticks out just a tiny bit. I'm literally just going to come in here and just kind of trim that off when it sticks out. All right. So now we have that. We have our pockets that are opposing each other. We can now go ahead and glue this one down because this pocket that the waterfall sits on top of, it's not going to matter if it kind of covers up on the sides here. Okay, and then for our waterfall, we're going to, or well, the pocket that the waterfall sits on top of, that is. And do the same thing to build the pocket that it sits on. Okay, slide that out of the way. Turn this sideways again. We're going to line up our pocket. Okay, now I think this is how I had this. Yeah, that's how I did it. I think. No, it's not. Just kidding. That's not where it goes. Okay, let's put that back. Ignore that for now. That is not where we want this to go. All right, so then we have our waterfall. And as you know, I can have an easier time putting these together when I do them upside down, so that's what we're going to do. And since the waterfall is the same width as the pocket, that does make it really easy. Only thing is I am going to start this down about 1/8 of an inch from the top here to give this a little bit of a gap for this to close. And other than that, it's just the usual. And I gotta say, I just love the colors in this collection. The red and the grays and the black and the plaids, and it's just really a fun collection. Okay, and last one. Okay, so there's our waterfall. I will come back in just a bit and burnish that down a little bit better, but for now, it is fine the way it is. Okay, so the next thing on the back of this big flap, we have a double belly band, so I've got that all ready to go. And again, we're just going to center this up. got the small one that goes on top. And again, you're just going to fold those tabs over and center it up. Okay. This goes down like so. This one comes over the top. This is where we need to get our magnet down. So we need to we've got stacked pockets on this page. Okay. All right, so go. And honestly, it probably would have been easier to put that down before putting this mat in, but that's okay. Okay, so then we need to, and I realized after I matted this that my magnet was going to end up kind of right in the middle there, but that's okay because what we can do is take a cut apart or something and put it right there to hide that magnet, and that will work just perfectly. Okay. Okay, and there we go. Now, as you can see, this is kind of tight. I've got a little bit of bubbling up here. Truly, this gusset right here probably needs to be 1/4 of an inch like this one is. I will actually add something in on the directions because, yeah, that needed to be a little bit bigger. And it's always kind of hard to tell. Even on my prototype, it didn't seem to fit this tight. So, not a big deal. We can work around it. So, let's move on to our right-hand side. So, I have not finished matting all of this, which is fine because literally this is it. I am through an entire paper pack in matting this. This is what I've got left. So I'm going to have to dig out a couple more sheets that I haven't gotten to yet and finish matting some of my stuff here. So for this side, we've got a page that opens this way. We've got a page that opens this way. We've got our accordion pocket, and then we've got our butterfly pages that open on top of that. First thing we're going to put down is going to be that accordion pocket. So our accordion pocket is right here. It is going to be sealed all the way along the bottom. Okay, it's going on this way. It will be sealed all the way along the bottom. And yeah, that's it. Sorry, I was thinking I had another point to make there, but I don't think I do. So I'm going to pull my adhesive off on one side here. Actually, no, we don't want to put that one down first. We need that other big flap first. Okay, so this is our big, I'm sorry, we're going to start with this one. This is our big flap that opens out this way. We actually do need to put this one down first so we can put our mat down and then put our pocket down. So, turn this one just a little bit sideways. Alright, so let's put that down. Let's grab our mat that goes in here and get that one down. There we go. Okay, now we can put our accordion pocket down. So again, you want to make sure it's not going to interfere over here. Actually need to bring it in just a tiny, tiny bit. Now, don't do accordion pockets very often for this very reason. They are a little bit on the tricky side to get down, but that's okay. There we go. All right, so next I'm actually going to pull this bottom piece off, and then we'll get our opposite side here, maybe. All right, I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to come over here, push that all the way down. And I did get this just slightly off, but you know what? I'm going to leave it. It's fine. All right, so now we can put down this big flap. So this big flap actually is going to attach on top of our accordion pocket. Turn this sideways so I can line it up. And it is going to sit exactly on top of the pocket. Push that down, ignore that, that's where I'm not even sure what I did right there. Okay, so before we get too much further, we're going to do our butterfly flaps, and I do have these marked so I know which one's which. And again, these are going all the way to the edge of the pocket, on top of the pocket. There we go. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so there's our flaps. Inside here, we do actually have a piece that's going to kind of reinforce that and cover it up and mat it all at the same time, which is awesome. But before I put that down, I've lost my magnet thing. There it is. I have this little piece that's actually going to sit on the front, but it's going to come off, so it's got magnets on it. So to get this to sit where I want it to sit, I want it about there we go. So I want it centered on that because we will mat that with something, probably the solid red like that, but that's not right. I mean, it is right, but I need the other one, not this one, because I want the sticky side to not go over there yet. I can tell this is not my day to do this. Okay, so let's do it this way. There we go. That's what I'm trying to do, so that the sticky side is on there. I promise I really do know what I'm doing. It's just been one of those days. All right, so on the opposite side, now we're going to do the same thing. Only this time, we're going to be about right there. Anyway, okay, so there we go. We got those down. The other piece we need to get down is going to be, well, it should have been underneath that, but that's okay. We're actually going to do that one on top of the butterfly flap because we can put something over that other than, there we go. So it will sit like that. So let's put that there. Okay, so this one comes over and over like that. Okay, over here we're doing one more waterfall on a pocket. My waterfall also is not completely matted yet, so. And this one, this pocket, we're doing it completely flat on the bottom. So, let's get that one on here. And assuming everything is lined up correctly, cross your fingers, this should sit like so. And when this closes, it should be right on the edge there, which it is. Yay! First thing today, I haven't just completely messed up. Okay, so we're going to do our waterfall on here. And I think I was adding a what do you call it? A little band to hold this one closed. So I'll grab measurements on that here in just a second. Okay. Okay. So that waterfall is going to sit just like that. That one's going on top there. So let me grab, I think that's what this piece was. So I had just this random strip sitting over here, and I think that's why. Alright, so what we're going to do is we want it to go about there. So we need to cut it off there. Okay, so we're going to call this 7.5, and we're going to score this 7.5 along the top. We're going to score this one at 1 inch, just to help it lay a little bit flatter. And no, you don't need a snack right now. Measure that. It's all good. Okay, one more set of magnets. We're actually going to put that on the second one in. There we go. All right, so I am going to finish matting this and get it decorated, and I will be back because as you can see, I need to mat here, kind of get the spines there. I've got a little spot there, and then I've got a couple spots inside, and then of course the waterfall. But there you have it. There is our jumbo folio. I will finish getting this matted and decorated, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have gotten everything matted completely. I have done my decorating. So when it opens up, here's what we've got. What I ended up doing, and of course this keeps sliding out of here, I ended up doing just some little 8x8 layouts that can tuck in with the belly band there. I've got scraps that I've matted with just some strips of my leftover scraps that I've got tucked in pockets here. I ended up adding the little band to help hold that waterfall down. It was just fighting with me, and I think I had, I'm not sure what I did, but so I did add that. I will put a note in the instructions. Here's another one of my little 8x8 layouts that just slides back in there. Close that side up. On this side, I've got just a couple more of the photo mats with some scraps, matting those. Went ahead and matted the rest of this waterfall, and this one actually was laying really flat. I probably could have left this off of this pit side, so I will leave that up to you. Used some frames from the ephemera pack. Left this page pretty much as is so that it didn't get too crazy. Here's our mat that holds this piece closed, and that opens up out that way. And then I've just got basic photo mats on the back sides there. And then we've got another 8x8 layout that slides into that accordion pocket, and of course you can get a whole bunch more in there. So there is our project. I will get this all edited and posted, and hopefully we'll have it up tomorrow morning. Thanks for checking it out. If you end up making this project, please share it on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations, and you can also share it on my page, Scrapping Under the Influence. And I hope to see some other versions of this. Bye!